Distinguished representative of the judiciary and public institution of Turkey, distinguished representative of the Council of Europe and the European Union, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be here today, and I thank you very much for inviting me. I will try to make a brief overview of major challenges and fight against cybercrimes and financing of terrorism. Recalling firstly, even if it has been recalled this morning, that combating cybercrime and terrorism is a crucial need because it threatens citizens' fundamental rights, businesses, government and critical infrastructures, the rule of law, and at the end, the functioning of democratic society. This through attacks against public and private computer systems, including media, civil society, public institutions, through personal or sensitive data thefts, identity theft, attacks against dignity and integrity of individuals, including hatred, which itself contributes to radicalization and terrorism. This recall is very important because sorry, because it's I'm switching too quickly my slides because we will fight a phenomenon that undermine democracy, and one of the main challenges will be to not undermine democracy on the ground of defending it, as it has been recalled by the European Court of Human Rights. Combating cybercrime and terrorism is a main challenge in itself, but I would say that it is composed of two main sub-challenges. And the first two is composed of the list of challenges themselves in four main areas: the area of legislation, the area of investigation and prosecution, the area of criminal justice, and the area of prevention. The second main challenge, and I already evoked, is to build the capacity to fight cybercrime and terrorism while ensuring compliance with international human rights standards and the rule of law, which is a challenge and a permanent combat, as it has been also already said this morning, for every member state of the Council of Europe, including in countries with well-established democratic traditions, and particularly in this field because powerful technologies enabled today to collect evidence, electronic evidence, to search and size crime proceeds. And there is a huge temptation in each country that has to be refrained of use everything that is available in order to fight a crime that is itself undermine democracy. So this will be one permanent challenge. I will now just try to provide some details on the fourth main challenge, highlighting each time main issues on the field of fundamental rights protection. So the first one is legislation on cybercrime, electronic evidence, and crime proceeds. The first need is to adopt substantial and procedural provisions, which will include rules of cooperation, so international cooperation, but also cooperation with the private sector, cooperation rules of cooperation with the internet service providers in order to obtain electronic evidence at first stage, and cooperation with the banking sectors and area of the fight against terrorism. Fundamental rights requirements are mainly that to ensure that the interference, so I mean substantial provision, the definition of criminal offenses, the definition of powers, are limited to the minimum necessary to meet a specific, unspecified, undemonstrated need, including detention, but it also on all substantial and procedural matters. One other important issue is to set up guarantees that will ensure this strict necessity. And in criminal matters, binding decisions of an independent authority, ideally a judge, should be the rule. Another main challenge is to set up a legal basis that ensures foreseeability, and this is also a main challenge for every state. Because this legal basis, to be foreseeable, must be stable, must be accessible, specific, and clear. And all these terms might be overcome in some country. For instance, I'm thinking about stability. In a lot of European countries today, you have a succession of laws fighting, for instance, terrorism and organized crime. And in some countries, including mine, France, you can just have 3 or 4 laws within a period of 1 or 2 years. So successive laws and different laws that are each time modifying the precedent legislation. Clarity means clarity of offenses, so precise definitions of terms, which is very important in the cybercrime area because we all use notions that are not so clear, such as cybercrime, such as terrorism, such as trace, such as search engine, and all these terms must be defined in the law to ensure foreseeability. Clarity also of powers, extent, circumstances, and their condition, their limit. The second point is the strengthening of the capacity of law enforcement authority to investigate and prosecute cybercrime and cybercrime proceeds. So this involves human and technical means, of course, training strategy, on forensic units, but also of experts that might be on the entire territory to be able to answer local needs. There's a need also of an effective cooperation. This point is very important and has been recalled this morning previously. So effective cooperation, police to police, regionally and locally, police to financial units, nationally and internationally, including a 24/7 network of contact points of the Council of Europe, and effective cooperation with the private sector, including service providers, who are, I would say, key stakeholders most of the time in the collection of electronic evidences. Main fundamental rights requirement that we can highlight here is the necessity of accountability and the possibility, the existence of independent controls of power, the importance of an absence of pressure leading to privileged quantity over quality that we can meet in a lot of countries, the importance of training law enforcement and prosecutors to the human rights protection philosophy and to the role and place of justice in society. This is really important in every country as well, because there's very often a feeling among law enforcement and prosecutors which lead to, as I said previously, technology is powerful, and law enforcement and prosecutors have the authority and the legitimacy to act against terrorism. And the temptation to just use what is technologically available without even seeing the issue of protecting fundamental rights, because we use this technology to protect rights, might be huge. So it's really important to have this training, this ethical approach of justice, and so everybody has this knowledge in mind and can think about the role and place of justice in the society. The third point is the strengthening of the capacity of criminal justice authorities to apply law. So once again, this implies at first human and technical means, also training strategy, and I would say training on cybercrime, electronic evidences, and crime proceeds of every judges and assistant per jurisdiction personnel. Because today electronic evidence is everywhere, not even on cybercrime trials, but also because everybody use technology, and most of the time in each trial there will be the need or a benefit for an electronic evidence. So it's important that justice is trying to understand the issue, to understand the collection of evidence, to understand the evidence, to understand and appreciate its legitimacy. The third requirement, once again, is the institution of procedure for international judicial cooperation, locally, regionally, and internationally. Fundamental rights' main aspect on this field is the independency from other powers and other possible influence of judges, of course. They must be independent and impartial, as we said this morning. The obtaining of decisions within a reasonable time, the existence of remedies, of course, and in training on fundamental rights protection, once again. It is highly important in the judiciary too, because it is really a part of the judge function to strike fair balance between effective fight and preserving rights and freedom in given specific cases, and to prevent European Convention on human rights violations. So their knowledge is infield, and the knowledge of their role is of utmost importance. The fourth and last main or key issue is prevention and policy, which includes the setup of cybersecurity and cybercrime strategy, including public awareness, the setting up of guidelines, including on the prevention and control of online fraud and criminal money flows for financial sectors entities, the importance and the cooperation public-private in order basically to share information, intelligence, best practices, and this at the regional and international levels. Fundamental right requirements that we can highlight in this field are the importance to spread guidelines on fundamental rights protection to stakeholders, to citizens, and a very good example on cybercrime is the Handbook on Cybercrime and Fundamental Rights of the Council of Europe. And ideally, sorry for my English accent, each action that is not proper investigation or a collection of evidence should be subject of an impact assessment on rights and freedom, including test of necessity and proportionality. If we want just to make 1 minute focus on Turkey, I think that as it has been explained and recalled this morning, an important, incredible work has been achieved in all areas, in part with the support of the Council of Europe's project. The judicial reform strategy answers several fundamental rights challenges, and this effort should be encouraged and pursued, including, and I think that all what follows concerns, once again, all member states, because on each of these critical challenges, it's a perpetual there's a perpetual need of stabilization and periodization. So the first key challenge is to reinforce, to strengthen the definition in substantial law to make sure they are precise. The limitation of investigating powers to the strict necessary. The strengthening of cooperation, international, private, and so on, and the strengthening of training for judges, prosecutors, law enforcement, but also lawyers, and I would say that all stakeholders that might take part of the proceedings and the judgment on cybercrime, electronic evidence, crime proceeds, and fundamental rights protection. And I thank you very much for your attention.